Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with what the previous representative was up here with, and I do think the bill sponsor, I sit in front of her, we talk a lot about healthcare and wanting to get to a place where healthcare is not so costly, but unfortunately, my constituents on commercial healthcare keep having their premiums raised too. I just read an article that came out May 1st that they're gonna go up another couple $100s, and we keep passing bills like this, and we're kicking the can down the road. And I appreciate all of her work on this bill, but truly this bill is a Colorado employer Medicaid penalty tax, is what we should call the name of this bill. It's going to reduce job opportunities by putting a tax on jobs and stigmatizing workers. It's going to push workers off of Medicaid by limiting access to jobs. And that's where I'm coming from. First of all, the government shouldn't be involved in this in the first place. And I know that we're probably trying to get to a single payer insurance. It doesn't work for countries. It's not going to work for a state, but here we are. We're going to continue to probably say no to this bill and kind of force us towards that. It's not going to work, but I'll keep debating it. The problem with this, and what I've talked to the good representative about, is that you're going to limit jobs for the people who need them the most, including my son. My son is 17, needs a part-time job, is applied to about 6 different golf courses, hadn't even get calls back. My other son, you all know, is disabled. If I were these large employers, I wouldn't employ any of them. I would say no to part-time employment. I'd say no to disability communities. I would say no, no, no. And that's what's going to happen. That's what we mean by stigmatizing workers. You're going to cut jobs for the people who need them the most, including students, parents, seniors, people with disabilities, and workers newly entering or re-entering the workforce, entry-level jobs. This is going to hurt the people that need entry-level jobs. Fewer jobs equals fewer people able to qualify for Medicaid. Medicaid should support low-income workers, not punish employers for hiring them. And let's talk about what has happened since 2020. Employers have absorbed major cost increases, including FAMLI payroll tax, minimum wage hikes, massive amounts of retail theft. I tried to put a stop to that. That bill was killed. We were going to try to put a stop to retail theft. Nope. $2.3 billion impact in Colorado of retail theft alone. And where did those large employers put that cost? They're not like, you know what, we're going to take a decrease in our pay. No. Now a gallon of milk costs you $5 because they are not going to cut their costs. They're going to put it on to all the people in our districts. Here you go. Eggs, increase. Milk, increase. All of your groceries, increase. All the things that they sell, they're going to increase because of bills like this. This bill adds yet another massive burden of between $15 million to $100 million in new annual costs for employers. This means higher costs for consumers, store closures, and reduced investment in businesses leaving Colorado. We have talked up here. We are the 6th most regulated state. We have had 98 businesses leave Colorado in the last 6 years. With that takes about 14,000 jobs. With that takes consumer spending in our states. I don't understand it. I mean, Colorado Medicaid's facing real challenges related to fraud. I've come up here a million times. We had one federal audit, $285 million for one federal audit in Medicaid fraud in the state. The ABA audit had $78 million in fraud, another $25 million in Medicaid transportation, and we had a wrong code for wheelchair transportation. We don't even know how much fraud that is, tens of millions of dollars. So instead of correcting all of that, here we are putting a Medicaid penalty tax on large employers in the state of Colorado. And I think it raises some serious legal concerns with ERISA. I think that we are going to be in big trouble when it comes to ERISA. ERISA, for those of you, I did a lot of research this weekend, is the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974, which protects the National Administration of Employer Benefits. So ERISA, in other words, is intended to avoid employers having to modify employee benefits to meet state-by-state requirements. So to meet state-by-state requirements. This bill is preempted and will be declared by the courts to be unenforceable. ERISA prevents states from indirectly enforcing employers to structure or fund benefits in specific ways. That is the whole Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. And that's why bills like this in other states have been shot down because of their legality. ERISA establishes comprehensive federal regulation of employers' provisions of benefits to their employees. This bill indirectly forces employees to modify their ERISA-covered health plans. There has been lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit when you violate ERISA, and it always wins. To accomplish this goal, ERISA includes expansive preemption provisions which are intended to ensure that employee benefit plan regulation would be exclusively a federal concern. A state law has an impermissible connection with the plan if it directly regulates or effectively mandates some element of the structure or administration of employees' ERISA plans. That's this bill. That's this bill. Why aren't we getting rid of the $2.3 billion in retail theft that these corporations are having to deal with? Why don't we put criminals in jail? Why don't we prosecute retail theft crime? Why is the solution always to go after the employers of the state? Why is it always to mandate and to tax and to feed them to death? Why is that always the solution in this building? And now it's to go after part-time employees. They're gonna be the stigmatized employee that doesn't get a job anywhere because these big retailers should not employ them. Because of bills like this, they are gonna get the shaft because we think we're doing what's right and we're kicking the can down the road. I've got more to say, but I'll let more members of my caucus speak. Thank you.